So what happens when a nation's oil money decides to jump headfirst into the world of blockchain? Well, you get a deal so huge it could literally reshape the entire crypto landscape. Let's get into it.
$2 billion. I mean, just look at that number. It almost doesn't seem real, right? But what it stands for? Well, that's a massive turning point in the story of crypto.
Because that $2 billion, it's not just a big number, it's a historic one. It represents the single largest institutional investment ever made in a crypto company. It's like a signal flare showing that the tectonic plates of global finance are seriously starting to shift. Okay, so let's really break down this $2 billion handshake. Who are the two giants involved here, and what does this partnership actually mean?
So, on one side of the table, you have MGX. And listen, this isn't your average venture capital firm. Nope. This is a technology-focused sovereign investment fund backed by Abu Dhabi, and its whole mission is to invest in the future. They're already playing big in AI and clean energy, and now they're making blockchain an essential part of their game plan. And on the other side, none other than Binance, the biggest crypto exchange on the planet. MGX pumped that $2 billion right into the company. And you want to hear the crazy part? The entire payment was made using stablecoins. Talk about a massive vote of confidence in the very technology they're investing in.
You know, for Binance, this investment couldn't have come at a more critical time. This deal was about way more than just cash in the bank. It was a strategic lifeline that gave them something far more precious.
To really get why, you have to look at the storm Binance was sailing through. They were up against major regulatory battles in the US, they were going through a huge leadership shakeup, and they were completely rebuilding their internal governance. To put it mildly, they needed a powerful, steadying hand.
So what does $2 billion from a state-backed fund really buy you? Of course, it pays for better security and helps expand services for the big institutional players, but the real prize here is the stuff you can't put a price on. It buys you massive geopolitical leverage and, maybe the most important thing of all, a kind of royal seal of approval that tells the world that Binance is a serious, credible player for the long haul.
All right, let's flip the coin. Why on earth would a fund like MGX make such a massive bet on a crypto exchange? What's the master plan? Believe me, this was no random shot in the dark. It was a very calculated move in a much, much larger game.
And this right here, this lays out their playbook perfectly. For years, Abu Dhabi and the UAE have been setting the stage. First, they built friendly, clear regulatory environments. Then, they worked to attract the biggest names in crypto to set up shop. And now, they're on to step 3, investing directly to get a seat at the table and help steer the industry. The ultimate goal? To make the UAE the undisputed global hub for digital finance.
And this is where you see the grand vision. I mean, MGX has already teamed up with giants like BlackRock and Microsoft on a $30 billion AI fund. By backing Binance, they're making a huge bet that the future of tech is where AI and decentralized finance meet. They're not just buying a piece of a crypto company. They're investing in the fundamental rails of a whole new economy.
Okay, so what does all of this mean for the rest of us? Because this isn't just a story about two big companies. This handshake sends shockwaves across the entire crypto world, and it pretty much announces a whole new era.
This slide really says it all. For so long, the old guard of finance has kind of looked down on crypto as this wild, risky, fringe thing. MGX's move just shatters that view. They are betting billions of dollars that blockchain isn't the fringe, it's the foundation of everything that comes next.
And hey, that's not just my take. As the source material puts it, this move fundamentally challenges the narrative. It's a statement from one of the world's most strategic investors that, yes, blockchain technology is absolutely here to stay, and it's going to be essential. But look, a deal this big doesn't just give us answers. It also raises some really fascinating new questions. The ink on the deal might be dry, but the story is really just getting started. So here's what we need to be watching for. First, you have to ask about influence. I mean, when a sovereign nation becomes one of your biggest stakeholders, how much of a say are they going to have in how you run things? Will Binance's priorities start to shift to line up with national interests? And that leads to a much deeper, almost philosophical question for crypto itself. This whole space was built on the idea of decentralization, of taking power away from big central authorities. Can that ideal really survive when a nation-state gets so directly involved? It's a huge question.
And then there are the practical things, like what does this mean for user data and regulations? Will having a state-backed partner change how customer info is handled, or how Binance deals with pressure from regulators around the world? The answers could affect millions of users.
All of this really builds up to one final, huge question. Are we watching the very beginning of a merger between state power and decentralized finance? A future where the lines between nations and networks just blur into something we've never seen before? That $2 billion handshake might just be the first page in a very new chapter. And now we all have a front row seat to see how it plays out.